We're almost live. We're almost live.
We'll work forward.
Chris. Guess we'll do the usual. You'll be number 2. Test.
Gentlemen, a quick point, suggestion was made to me. My name, I indicated on the screen. People are asking me what district do you represent? For those that are in my district, they would know, but outside of it, they would know what district. I think it's good.
Three on mine at one time, but it's not there now. I knew that.
I'd like to call the regular session of the Isabel County Board of Commissioners to order. Stand for the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Commissioner Sweeney.
Here.
Commissioner Embry.
Here.
Commissioner Hope.
Here.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up would be approval of the agenda. We'll start out with general public comments under presentation and special reports. And I'm looking at the work session. I better look at the regular session. We have no presentations and special reports. No appointments to boards and commissions. We'll approve the consent agenda and committee reports, Finance Administration Committee.
Finance Administration Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman. I did see a hand from Commissioner Engler.
Yes, we have a change in the agenda.
Chairperson Hope, I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda under committee reports, item B, Criminal Justice Committee number 1. I'd like that motion to move to approve the payment to Motorola Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $439,746.80 for the Michigan Public Safety Communications System, Tower, and Equipment Budget, and authorize the board chair to sign the same amendment number 2023-07.
Very good.
You get a support.
With that, the criminal justice is all set, Mr. Chairman.
We need support for that.
Oh, you do.
Okay.
I'll support that.
Right.
We need a roll call vote.
You do need to vote on the amendment, but we do not need it to be a roll call.
All right. So it's been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
The Human Resources and Public Works Committee is all set, Mr. Chair.
Very good. We have no intergovernmental affairs, no administrator controller issues, no unfinished business. Under new business, we have the volunteer agreement with Michael Sperber that we talked about in the work session. Another opportunity for general public comments and then announcements. So with that, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Support.
Jelazinski.
And supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Brings us to general public comment. Do you have anyone for general public comment? Don't see anyone online. Okay, very good. Consent agenda. Commissioner Embry, would you present that for us, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Motion reads to move to approve and place on file the April 4th, 2023 regular meeting minutes, the April 12th, 2023 special meeting minutes, the April 11th, 2023 Finance and Administration Committee meeting minutes, the April 11th, 2023 Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee meeting minutes, and the April 11th, 2023 Human Resources and Public Works Committee meeting minutes.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Brings us to committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee.
Our first item of business is the March 31st, 2023 invoice list, the April 7th, 2023 invoice list, and the April 13th, 2023 adjustment list. The motion reads, move to ratify and place on file the March 31st, 2023 invoice list in the amount of $1,321,032.25. The April 7th, 2023 invoice list in the amount of $384,381.39, and the adjustment list dated April 13th, 2023.
Or
Been moved and supported to ratify and place on file the March 31st, 2023 invoice list, the April 7th, 2023 invoice list, and the April 13th, 2023 adjustment list. Discussion.
So each of us had received the invoice list in the email to review and had opportunity to comment back to administration if we had questions or concerns. And then the work session then was another review, and this is the final chance to ask any questions before we pay those bills. Looking at the March 31st list, it's a short list, but it's the big dollar. And basically, the one item that stands out is Clark Construction Company in the amount of $1,127,154.81. And that's the construction services for the jail project for the month of March. All the rest are very well known to us, customary bills that we pay on a regular basis. Any question on that list? Moving then to the April 7th list, a few more lists, but the dollar amount is way down. But when you take a look at the items listed here, again, most of them are for services that we repeatedly approve and pay. Any questions on the April 7th list? Final is the adjustment list, and that's where we make the changes to those two lists. And most of them are either for a discount if we make early payment, such as Gordon Food Service, and then or to avoid a late fee, such as credit card payment. A couple mileage calculation errors. It seems to be the norm when you change and the IRS changes the amount per mile that you get. People don't always remember that calculation, so that gets corrected. Other than that, I didn't see anything that stood out. Questions on the adjustment list?
Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
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 Commissioner Marino,
yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
ayes, 0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
Second item on the Finance and Administration Committee list is the 2023 Equalization Report on the STC Form L-4024. Motion reads, move to approve the 2023 Equalization Report on the STC Form L-4024 as presented by the Equalization Department and required by state statute, and authorize the chairperson of the Board of Commissioners and the county clerk to sign the same, and direct it to be filed with the county clerk's office and with the State Tax Commission in a timely manner.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the 2023 equalization report on the STC Form 4024 for discussion.
And this particular motion has to do with a required form that must be filled out on a yearly basis. And we had a report from, what his name? Pete, Mr. Preston, and gave us a detailed report on what that report entails. And again, I want to thank him and Judy for such a detailed report. Do you have any other questions?
Any further discussion? Yes, Madam Administrator.
I think I'd just like to point out, even though that we know the turbines are depreciating greatly in the second year, that these totals will include that depreciation. Even with that almost 20% depreciation amount on the turbines, still increasing taxable value over 3%, right? What did he say? 3.29%. So that's good news. And I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you.
True.
Any other discussion? And seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Jelazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
no nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
Committee's final business for the night is the MERS Defined Benefit Plan Adoption Agreement. Motion reads. Move to adopt the Municipal Employees Retirement System, that's MERS, Defined Benefit Plan Adoption Agreement, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Been moved and supported to adopt the MERS Defined Benefit Plan Adoption Agreement. Discussion.
This is a piece of housekeeping, and it relates to how we're going to handle the essential pay, COVID-19 essential pay that we paid out to employees last October. I think full-time employees received $1,000, part-time employees received $500. And of course, MERS needs to know if that's going to be part of the final calculation when the retirement benefit is going to be drawn. And so that this actually informs MERS that that's how we wish to have it handled. It does mean that we're going to have a little bit of an increase, but it's not going to be a significant increase to our annual premium to MERS.
Any further discussion or questions? And seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Marino,
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Hope,
Yes,
7 ayes, 0 nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Commissioners. That brings us to Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Chairperson Hope. Our first item is MPSDS Tower and Equipment Project Payment to Motorola Solutions Incorporated. Motion reads, move to approve the payment to Motorola Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $430,746.80 for the Michigan Public Safety Communications Systems Tower Equipment Project, and authorize chair board to sign the budget amendment number 2023-07.
Moved and supported to approve the MPSCS Tower and Equipment Project payment to Motorola Solutions and authorize the board chair to sign budget amendment number 2023-07. Discussion.
So this is the project that has started with the state of $4.8 million. We just initiated meeting with Motorola, and this is our initial payment for that, which will be refunded by the state. And sorry, I should say that there's communications for both dispatch and townships and sheriff's office for the whole county.
Comments. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Embry,
Yes.
Commissioner Jelazinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Yes,
zero nays, motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
thank you, Madam Clerk.
All right, item number 2, fiscal year 2024 MIDC compliance plan application. Motion reads, move to approve the submission of the fiscal year 2024 Michigan Indigent Defense Commission compliance plan application. And this evening, we'll have our Director of the Public Defender's Office for Isabella County, Thomas Hausman, here to answer any questions on this, but we're setting our application for the grant with the state for our indigent defense group, which sets rates for 2024.
I just need support for the motion.
Support.
Thank you.
I ran into it real quick.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, just a point of order, do we need to also include the authorize the board chair to sign that plan? As part of that motion?
Board chair doesn't sign it until we get the contract back after it's approved.
All right, thank you.
Okay, discussion. Tom Hausman back again. Thank you for coming back.
Would you like to start? We're at the beginning.
Yeah, go ahead. Please do a quick overview of the grant proposal.
So we're, a few years into this. And so the grant is due next Thursday, the grant application. The majority of the grant is the same. A lot of it doesn't change. A couple things that we did change this year going forward, we're asking to switch our investigator position in the office to a social worker position. We've had an investigator in the office and we just kind of feel that that's a better need that's suited in our community, is having someone in our office that can provide that contact with our outside, our partner agencies, community mental health, inpatient facilities, things of that nature. Because the majority of our cases could utilize that service rather than having an investigator on staff. We did a wage study on that position and it actually came back at the same level as what the investigator would have been. And so we're actually potentially able to move forward with doing that during this fiscal year versus waiting till October. So that's something we could do with a simple plan change going forward. The big change obviously is the imposition of standard 8. Standard 8 was passed officially back in October, giving us 180 days from that passage date to comply, meaning that our fiscal year 24 grant application has to comply with standard 8. And going back, to our original compliance plan, we've always had the goal and the mindset to be in compliance with all the standards from the jump. So we've done that back since the initial compliance plan back in the initial compliance plan where we actually had staff back in 2019. And so the wording of standard 8 back in 2019 was $100 an hour for misdemeanors, $110 an hour for felonies, and $120 an hour for life offenses. Now, those hourly rates only apply to our contractual attorneys. So it doesn't apply to our staff attorneys. We handle 75% of the cases from the trial court, whereas our contract gets the other 25%. And so when MIDC looked at passing standard 8, they said, these are the same rates that we've had since 2019. And so they increased them. And that increase, I know I said it earlier, but that increase does include that 2% COLA. I was mistaken when I presented this last week saying that it was 2% on top of that, but that 2% is already included in that increase from $100 an hour. And so what the minimum standards, the minimum amount that we're allowed to pay our contracted attorneys going forward is $118.21 an hour for misdemeanors, $130.03 an hour for felonies, and $141.82 an hour for life offense felonies. And when we had our grant planning meeting with our regional director back probably month and a half ago, she'd indicated to me that most counties were rounding those numbers up. And they were rounding them up to 120, 135, and 150 respectively. And the reason for that, some of it was accounting. But some of it is, the 118 and change, 130 and change, 141 and change, those are the bare minimums. And so that's something that we've paid, for the past couple of years, is just the 100, 110, 120, and even that was the bare minimum. And so I reached out to a lot of our neighboring counties to see how they were handling this change to standard 8. And Midland, Clare, Gladwin, Lake, Mason, Newaygo, Osceola, and Oceana are all doing the rounding up, the 120, 135, and 150. And so I think it's important to include that in our grant application for this year. Just because, this is the first year that standard has actually been implemented. We've complied with it in the past. We didn't have to. We could have continued to pay those attorneys, the $300 a case that we were paying prior. But our grant has always been, we've been at the forefront of complying with these standards. And so it's one of those things where I want to continue with that trajectory. These are the minimums that we can pay. There are maximums that we can pay as well. The maximums are set by what federal public defenders make, which is obviously they don't have misdemeanors. So $158 for a felony and $202 an hour for a life offense felony. So that's what we're capped at. And the 118, 130, 141 is kind of the bare minimum that we're allowed to proceed under. And so that's why a lot of the counties are rounding those numbers up to the 120, 135, and 150. That's really the biggest change to this round of grant applications this year. Happy to entertain any questions.
Commissioners?
Everybody looked at me.
Spent the first work session talking about it.
First of all, I want to compliment you on operating the department. I know Commissioner Engler and I were on that original committee, and I think we made the right decision to go with an internal department and contract a fewer cases out to the private sector. As I read that, my biggest concern was that the state, when they kind of mandate the wages, and I know that we adjusted the wages for full-time staff just recently, and now we're doing it for the contractual staff, that we are in a situation that when we look down the road in a 10-year plan, we see some real serious problems, and we're going to have to come up with additional revenues, or we're going to have to cut the budget. And every time we have an increase, that just works in the opposite direction, makes the problem more difficult. I am concerned too that when we make the increases, that how is it going to impact the other attorneys? And I know that I think I've heard that the full-time attorney wages were going to be made comparable with the prosecuting attorney's office. Is that correct in the next budget proposal?
Yes, sir, Vice Chairman. In the fiscal 24 requested budget that you received from administration, that first draft will include not only the increase for the attorneys at the public defender's office, but the same increase for attorneys in the prosecuting attorney's office, as well as trial court. We have a couple of attorneys there. One is the friend of the court is an attorney, and also a magistrate is an attorney. So Melissa Franquist is already building in those increased salaries for the requested budget. Not something you'll have to add in.
I don't know how many contractual attorneys are hired by either the trial court or the prosecuting attorney's office. I know the trial court probably hires a guardian ad litem. Most of those are probably paid by the person that they're going to represent.
And those are separate because that's that probate court. back in February, I believe it was, we bifurcated both this contract, what we're talking about here, the MAC contract, and then the probate contract.
But we do have those costs for the probate. We're gonna have to increase the payments of those attorneys too to be.
We did already.
But I think Commissioner Jellison is
Correct.
talking about budget. In the budget, yep, trial court will look to keep that increase, definitely.
Okay, before,
Before you go in there, I just want to bring up that going back to how the sausage was made when we first started this off. Is that one of our advantages that we had was that the different counties all had the similar plan. And we stuck to it. We got pretty much to it. So if the surrounding counties are all sticking to the same plan, I know one of our biggest fears is that they're gonna start cutting. Making the counties pick up a little bit more, but I'm glad to hear that we're all on the same boat for the mid-Michigan area, because like I said, it's it's a little different east because of the cost share, I'm not sure what the percentage, like 70-30. So we're, the county pays about 400, you know what the number is, 400,000 for our share, and the state's over 1.2 million, I believe, or.
Much less, it's 240,000 is the local share.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm looking at the,
Make sure it's.
I'm looking at the sheriff's 400. I was kind of confused.
Look at the smile on that guy.
240,000 is the local share.
But I mean, the percentages are, yeah.
It's 2.5%.
So, and I know it's not fair. It's hard to compare agencies because of the funding source is so different between the courts and the prosecutor and the public defender, because it's the monies are differently applied for. We get the funding source is a lot different. And so it's hard to, even though it might not be equitable, I guess, but that's the system we're dealt with. Hopefully they'll put a little more effort into funding some of the prosecutors and the courts a little bit highly in the future after we get this straight. So.
but you did contact all the surrounding counties and they're all gonna round it up.
Correct.
I guess I'll have to drop that issue then. I was gonna make a motion, but I think if we're doing it at a regional basis and something that is less concerning to me. The final thing I'd like to suggest, and it's nothing that we're going to be able to resolve tonight, but I know we've been working with the Indigent Defense Department to make sure we meet those standards. And, we have a caseload and trying to do that, but we're not looking at what the impacts are with the prosecuting attorney's office. I don't know. I know attorneys are probably professionals. They're not eligible for overtime. I don't know what the workload is with the prosecuting attorney's office, how many staff there are, staff attorneys in one department compared to another department. But I think that's another concern, not only the dollar amount, but what is the workload? I think we need to kind of maybe engage our prosecuting attorney and Mr. Hausman and the trial court to get a better understanding of that. Because if we have attorneys in one department that are so overworked that they're putting in overtime, and I don't know how much overtime comes out of your department, we have to make sure there's some equity there too. Otherwise, there's going to be internal issues that arise. But
And I think we've been lucky, obviously, that I haven't personally seen that. I mean, I haven't heard of any of that. Being an attorney in general, you're always going to have that overtime, because you're going to have a circuit court felony jury trial on a Monday. You're going to be working all weekend, whether you're the prosecutor, whether you're the defense attorney, you're going to be working all weekend. And it's one of those things where with the imposition of MIDC, it's put more job responsibility on public defenders. Before, when we were on the contract basis, we didn't have any standards, right? We got our $300 as soon as we filed an appearance, and there wasn't any guidelines as to what you had to do. Now you have to meet with your client within 3 days after being appointed. We have to do continuing education. That was never a part of it. Those are things that we have to do. We have to do arraignment, which is cumbersome to say the least. And those are things that we have to do that's not the same on the other side. So I mean, when you look at prosecutor versus public defender, they are obviously intertwined, but they're very different job responsibilities, no matter how you look at it. So I think there's some parity there, but then there's also very, very big differences.
All right. I have no further questions. Most of my questions been answered, but I do encourage the board to kind of take a look at bigger umbrella where our attorneys service the public and make sure that we're equitable. Thank you. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
I think that I still have, I guess, statements I'd make that we have to be careful not to look at defense attorneys and prosecuting attorneys as apples to apples. They have very different jobs, and we will need to address our job environment and our salaries according to their different positions and duties, obviously. And for example, our prosecuting attorneys, there's someone always on call, right? Through the weekend, they may get a call from the sheriffs that they have to address on a Sunday night or whatever. So we need to be careful not to address them at all as attorneys and address it as a job salary issue, that we, look at, setting the pay rate, for each position accordingly, and looking at it across the board with other counties around us. So it's a very broad picture, and I know that a lot of us will tend to, look at it as a, position A as opposed to position B. So I just say, this is true across all departments, not just attorneys. Even within the same, say, Parks Directory, you'll have different positions and you have to address different duties and salary accordingly. So it's a very complex issue. And we want to make sure that we understand here that we're really increasing our contract hourly, right? And so we have our hourly salary, or we don't have, sorry, we have our salary prosecutors and we have our salary defense as well. So we obviously need to, have a delicate hand, make sure that we're not, forcing people out of prosecuting into defense or anything because they see no other way to go. But it's certainly not a competition. We're all helping. And so I'll get off my soapbox now. And if there's no other.
Just one comment. I'd like to thank PD Hausman for coming back and rehashing this again.
Very much.
I know too often you don't have to come twice and repeat the stuff, but I appreciate you coming in. So. No more.
Anything else? All good comments. I appreciate it. And Mr. Hausman, I appreciate you coming back for the regular session. So, hearing nothing further, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Swaney,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay, next up is the Aperture Premium Partner Program Agreement. The motion reads, move to approve the Aperture Premium Partner Program Agreement for a 5-year period in the total amount of $108,438.15 and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the Equiture Premier Partner Program Agreement discussion.
Okay, this was a software we started in 2021, and this upgrade was planned for. It's a critical part hopefully they're planned. Part of the system was part analog yet, and so there's an update to get all the systems and working together. So it was planned, and it really is a critical part. Without this, the rest of the system kind of doesn't work. So
Any further discussion? And hearing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Entry,
Yes.
Commissioner Jelvis,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
yes,
Commissioner Hope,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
okay, amendment number 1 to the software license agreement with the TAC 10 Incorporated. The motion reads, move to approve amendment number 1 as of March 23rd, 2023 to the software license agreement dated December 6th, 2022 between TAC 10 Inc. and Isabella County Central Dispatch 911 and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. Been moved and supported to approve amendment number 1 to the software license agreement with TAC 10 Incorporated. Discussion.
Okay, this is something that TAC 10 needs to have. It's basically guidelines from the FBI in the state of Michigan. And hopefully the system will be operating maybe October, November, so updated, just some more paperwork to get done, so.
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Entry,
Yes.
Commissioner Jelizzinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes,
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Chairman, that completes the work of the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Commissioners, Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Isabella Planning Commission Annual Report 2022. The motion reads, move to accept and place on file the 2022 Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report as presented.
Been moved and supported to accept and place on file the Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report 2022. Discussion.
Okay, back in the Human Resources and Public Works Committee meeting last week, Timothy Newport, the Community Development Director, presented this annual report to us. And I'd like to just go over a few of the things. The presenting of the 2022 annual report is based on legislation. And it's required under the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act, ACPA 33 of 2008. So that's how long it's been going on. And I'll give you a little shot of some of the things that their activities were in 2022. The first thing is the commission, the Planning Commission, recommended a few changes to the zoning map. And this was done with careful consideration to the needs of the community and upholding the integrity of the county master plan. The commission also continued to remain active with communications to the townships, and this is a summary of some of the activity. First, there was a master land use plan, May 2022, and continuing through the remainder of 22. The staff worked with the Planning Commission to make minor changes to the Isabella County Master Plan use. The Isabella County Master Land Use Plan and the entire master plan update process was performed in the compliance with the Michigan Planning and Enabling Act. The changes included basically grammatical tests and other general document formatting updates. Also updates to the cover page, table of officials, table of contents, addition of a countywide existing land use map with updated data, updates to the format of the future land use maps with minor changes in Denver, Isabella, Sherman townships. Updated changes brought on by the census, updated census following the publication of the 2020 US Census. And sections were added for airport layout plans, sanitary sewer, water supply systems. Also, energy within visions and goals and updates to the survey of goals to townships. Kind of some of the statistics. For site plan reviews, there was a total of 11 were performed, 6 were conducted by the planning commission, and 5 were conducted by staff. And the reason for that is sometimes things have to be speeded up a little bit and to complete the projects that are being executed. And also the commission continues to see the benefit of reducing overall number of applicants required to appear before the full commission next, like I just said, expediting the permit process. And there was 1 special use permit in 2022. This is pretty much lower than the average number of public hearings held each year since 2018, and is the same number of public hearings were held in 2021. Okay, zoning amendments. In 2022, the planning commission held 2 public hearings for map amendments. The planning commission reviewed and recommended the proposed amendments for approval. The recommendations were sent to the County Board of Commissioners for final action. And that's the next thing is review township zoning amendments. There was 3. The planning commission reviewed and commented on 3 zoning amendments. Union Township presented 2, which were map amendments, and 1 text amendment for review and comment. And the content was related to changes to the solar energy systems within township zoning ordinance. Okay, there was also master plan reviews. In May of 2022, the commission was presented with amendments to the master land use plan for Wise Township in Isabella County and a notice of intent to amend the master plan for the city of Clare. Land agreement applications in 2022, the commission reviewed and commented on a total of 17 farmland agreements applications in 6 different townships, which were Broomfield, Coe, Denver, Lincoln, Nottawa, and Wise. These applications represented a total more than 643 acres entering the farmland and open space preservation program. This represents a 75% increase in acreage from 2021, when the commission reviewed 7 applications totaling 376 acres. Additional activities, in addition to this, what I mentioned before, the Isabella County Planning Commission continued to work with RSG on the post-production sound study as required by the zoning amendment ordinance for the Isabella Wind Turbine Project throughout central Isabella County. And that was paid for by funds put in extra from the folks that made the turbines. So that was no taxpayer money on that. Okay, also staff issued 137 zoning permits in 2022, which is a slight increase. Though lower than the previous year, the number issued in 2022 is consistent with the other previous years. And staff also conducted 5 site plan reviews as a result of zoning amendment 08-08. So staff has reviewed more than 100 zoning complaints throughout the county, including activities in Coe Township in which staff provides administrative support via the intergovernmental agreement. And there was various outcomes and results from these. Some Director Newport mentioned that some take longer, some take weeks, some take days, it's all different depending on the situation. Okay, the Zoning Board of Appeals heard requests from 4 applicants for 4 different variances. This was the same as 2021, where the Appeals Board heard 4 requests for variances. The ZBA will review their actions early in 2023 and make any appropriate recommendations to the Planning Commission at that time. This has been a decrease from years past. There was no outside training, and some of the goals for 2023 are continually review the zoning ordinance and make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners on amendments to the zoning ordinance. The Planning Commission will continually review zoning ordinance language regarding solar farms to ensure consistency with current industry standards And I'm really glad that we have these in place in our system. I've talked to other county commissioners in like Gladwin County, and they're getting offers to do solar arrays in their county, but they don't have any framework or didn't have any ordinances or weren't prepared really for this. So I think that we're really ahead of the game on this. And I'm excited to hear that there's several projects going forward. Okay, also, one of the other things is goals, maintain open lines of communication between the commission and the townships. And in this vein, the commission will continue to maintain agenda item for township concerns for township representatives in attendance at the commission meeting. And with these goals, they're always looking for ways to better serve and best practices in this area. Any questions or comments?
Just sorry, just a comment, but you mentioned being prepared for solar in terms of zoning, and it just seems like a good time to mention that our community development director, Mr. Newport, is always prepared and always kind of looking forward to anything that's coming, and certainly was true with the wind, but with all of it, and is positioning the county so that we are out in front of these issues. Absolutely.
Definitely.
I just wanted to compliment Tim on putting this together and taking the time to go through with the law and really does help, especially some of the people in township that I represent in working with the townships.
Transparent.
Any other questions or comments? And hearing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please. Oh, we don't need I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was testing you on that. We don't need a roll call. We're just accepting and placing on file that reports.
Okay, our second item. MRF processing fees from MMI Business Recycling. Motion reads, move to approve the reduced rate processing fees in $45 per ton.
Commissioner.
I think we need to back up.
Point of
We still need a voice vote for that last.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All those in favor of accepting and placing on file the Isabella County Planning Commission Annual Report 2022. Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Sorry for that interruption.
And we'll start. MRF processing fee for MMI Business Recycling. Motion reads, move to approve the reduced rate processing fees in the amount of $45 per ton for clean material and the amount of $70 per ton for 10% contamination for the Mid-Michigan Industries Business Recycling Material brought to the Isabel County Material Recovery Facility.
Support.
And moved and supported to approve the material recovery facility processing fees for MMI Business Recycling. Discussion.
Yes, this is a deal with the county and the MMI in giving them a reduced rate. It takes it from the usual of $60 per ton down to $45 per ton. And also from, if it's a 10% contamination fee of $85 per ton down to $60 per ton. And in the years that Dave Borton, our facility director, indicated that he hadn't seen one in there that they've actually went 10%. But this allows MMI to work with their workers and their staff to train them and try to get them into the workforce. So it's kind of a win-win with them. They did come to our work committee meeting and indicated that they really wanted to thank us for working with them and doing this and giving them a better rate. Any questions?
Commissioner Janosensky.
Maybe I'm a little bit slow, but am I reading this and understanding this correctly, that the reduced rate in the amount of $45 per ton for clean material, but it's $70 per ton for material that's contaminated above 10%?
They're paying,
So
We don't want that to happen that much.
right, they're paying the MRF $70 if it's above 10%. So they pay for the MRF to take their material.
are they paying more for contaminated material than clean material?
The MRF is not paying for it.
Oh,
Taller is.
Allard, okay.
Whoever brings it. The facility is paying the MRF to drop that material off there.
But I mean. MMI is, I'm not sure if everyone is clear, nonprofit organization that. Is hiring, people in the workforce that are,
Challenge work.
challenge workers.
Hmm.
So like MMI has a contract with the Mount Pleasant City and so they'll pick up of recyclables and take them to the MRF for the city. And so we're giving them a reduced rate because they're a nonprofit. I'm not sure if all our constituents are clear on that.
Yeah, Mid-Michigan Industries. This is the amount that is being paid.
Normal fee would be $60 per ton, and we're reducing it down to $45 per ton. If it's 10% above 10% contamination, normally go to $85 per ton. Now we're reducing that to $60 per ton.
I'm sure
And
it
it's-
works out in the calculation.
Right, and it's what MMI is paying the
Okay.
county for.
Thank you.
I'm not, it's all very confusing, so I'm like, anyone listening?
They previously had not charged MMI, tipping fee, I think is the right term, processing fee for recyclables. But felt that gave them a little unfair advantage with the commercial haulers. So they wanted to charge fee, but they, because of the work that MMI does with developmentally challenged individuals and giving them job training, they wanted to reduce that fee to a smaller amount.
Keep them in training, allows them to try to get into the workforce.
I got it now.
I think there's a mistake on here, guys. On my report from Jake, my figures, it reduces it from 85 down to 60, but in our amendment tonight, it goes from 85 down to 70. So 10%.
But
I feel like.
No surprises.
Yeah, I feel like the staff report shows. If you look at his staff report, his recommendation is the $45 per ton of clean material and $70 per ton above 10% contaminated. I know in the staff report, he talks a lot about,
In the recommendation.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. I think we're okay with the motion.
$70. If it's 10%,
Yes.
which said they haven't done.
That level, yeah.
Any further discussion? And hearing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Embree,
Yes.
Commissioner Janosensky,
Yes.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino, Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
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 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Our next and last final government rental contract with Allen's Equipment. The motion reads, move to approve the government rental contract with Allen's Equipment expiring December 31st, 2025 for the rental of a New Holland tractor with backhoe at the rate of $15 per hour for Isabella County Parks and Recs. Time the same.
Been moved and supported to approve the governmental rental contract with Ellen's Equipment. Discussion.
Okay, thank you. Miranda Walker, the Parks and Recreation Interim Director, was at our committee meeting last week, and she gave us some background on the situation. Starting in April 21st, the Parks Department began utilizing a municipal leasing program through Ellen City for the rental of a New Holland tractor. It's to be used for maintenance at Coldwater Family Park. And they're requesting leasing this tractor from Ellen's and would like to extend the contract to 3 years. And she explained that since they are only utilizing the tractor from May to October, when the park is open there, it's a better way than buying a whole tractor because they only have to spend for the hours. And also they get a brand new tractor every year, which provides the best service to the park. And repair costs are also included, which minimizes the maintenance expenses. And it would be about $30,000 to buy a new tractor, plus the annual cost of maintenance and repair. So it's really working out good for Parks and Recreation, this deal. And it's also, as pointed out in the afternoon meeting, it's very close by, right?
Any further discussion? And seeing none, Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Jelazinski,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yeah.
Commissioner Embry.
Yeah.
Commissioner Hope.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have no intergovernmental affairs, no administrator controller issues. And head that complete the work of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee. Thank you, gentlemen. We have no unfinished business under new business. We have a motion there. Vice Chairman Jelazinski, would you care to? have that motion for us?
Yes, volunteer agreement with Milkos Ferber. Move to approve the volunteer agreement between Milkos Ferber and Isabella County to set the parameters of his involvement in all aspects of the construction of the Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Correctional Facility, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Been moved and supported to approve the voluntary agreement with Milkos Ferber. Discussion.
I think this came out of some concerns of the sheriff, and that we're looking at a very sensitive facility and wanted to make sure that we controlled the information dealing with the construction and any kind of operational matters. And so we have this gentleman that came forward. He's been involved with, I think, the Commission on Aging construction, and has volunteered his time and his talent to work with us to make it the best project possible for the Sheriff's Office County Jail. So I think this has probably been reviewed by the sheriff, and he's in agreement with that.
Very good.
Second.
Second.
It was seconded by,
From Marino. Yep.
Any further discussion?
also it was prepared by the county lawyer as well, so. No.
Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Engler,
Yes.
Commissioner Marino,
Yes.
Commissioner Sweeney,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Embry.
Yes.
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 7 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Brings us to general public comment, and we don't have any general public. Don't have anyone online, do we, Michelle? Okay. Announcements, commissioners, any announcements?
Well, I'm going to announce that the last full weekend of the month is Shepherd Maple Syrup Festival. So you get 3 square meals a day of pancakes and sausage if you want them. And a lot of syrup. It was a good year for syrup. And Mr. Sweeney was the person who developed the Shepherd Bar maple beer offering. So we have a celebrity on here.
Very good.
Does
Any
that
other-
beer go with pancakes and sausage?
It does.
Okay. Just checking.
Everything is.
With everything, right?
So you're invited, come in and have a good time.
Any other? And is there a motion to adjourn?
Reno.
Support.
Moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourned. It's 7:59.